into the action for another edition. Chasing that paper, presented by VegasInsider.com in the Halloween spirit today. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. As you can see, I am dressed as the popular video game character Mario from Mario's World. Blue collar worker, we respect that. We respect all you blue collar workers around here at Chasing That Paper. So Victory Monday here on the program. Ian and I coming off yet another winning program on Friday. We went 5-3. And of course, my Miami Dolphins coming off a nice win and cover in Detroit. Tua absolutely filling out that stat sheet. Dropping those balls. And for Waddle and Ian's Atlanta Falcons first place in the NFC South. We will bring Ian in. Ian's senior editor from BetSided. As we can see, Ian dressed as a pussy cat today on the program. So, Ian, how did your weekend of betting go? We know you hit a couple for us on Friday's program. Overall, how'd you make out?
Pretty good winning week, so that's all that really matters. Actually, very good Saturday in college football, surprisingly, because usually I struggle there. So I'm pretty happy with how the weekend went. The NFC South goes through Atlanta. That is a fact. First place, sole possession of first place. The Falcons, I actually thought that they lost. I shut the TV off after they allowed that huge bomb in the end zone with like 30 seconds left. Didn't realize until like a minute in overtime that they missed the extra point. So I'm glad it ended the way it did. Great weekend overall.
Indeed, yeah. Falcons got a little bit of help there yesterday, but as we say here, all wins count as the same, right? Giants fans know exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so enough small talk here. We got a lot to get into. Monday Night Football, World Series, NBA, NHL. Let's get right into the action. I'm going to hit lead off here. We're talking Bengals, Browns. We're talking the total number sitting there at 45. Boom! I am all over the over in this matchup. Let's dig right into it. So take a look at the Bengals really struggling versus the run here. Of course, they're facing the best running back duo in the NFL. The Bengals getting shredded on the ground, allowing 5.4 yards per carry over their last 3 games. Worth noting that the Browns absolutely destroyed the Bengals on the ground in each matchup last season. Take a look at the Browns defense. They're struggling versus everything. Bottom third in the NFL in yards allowed per rush and pass attempt. They're taking on a Bengals team that's absolutely finding its groove right now. 27 or more points in 4 of its last 5 games. Take a look at the Browns at home. 28 or more points in 3 of their 4 games in Cleveland. In high-scoring games, that's the norm for the Browns this season. Average combined score of 50.6 in the games this season. Moving on. Ian has a look at the side in this one. Ian, what's your pick?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't love this bet, but I am betting on every single game, and my bet for this game, I'm not confident. It's an very,
very convincing. Okay.
But it is Browns. It's Browns plus 3 here. Hey, it's Halloween night. Maybe some spooky things will happen here. The Bengals have obviously looked a lot better in recent weeks than they did at the start of the year. But they still have some red flags I'm a little bit concerned about. I don't really feel like laying points on the road on them in a divisional matchup here. Mainly their offensive line. The Bengals rank 30th in yards per carry. They can't run the ball, averaging only 3.5 yards per rush. They also still can't protect Joe Burrow. 27th in QB sack percentage. Obviously, that's a kind of a red flag for their offensive line here. So they're going to have to throw the ball, and the Browns might be able to slow down their pass attack a little bit here. 7th in the NFL heading into this week in opponent completion percentage. And when you look at the Bengals defense, Joe, you mentioned it, they can't stop the run. That's the weakness of their defense, and now they have to face one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. The Browns are averaging 5.2 yards per carry. So I think the Bengals offensive line is going to cause them some issues. I think their run defense is going to cause them some issues. I think the Browns at least keep this game close. I will take the 3 points with Cleveland on Halloween night.
All right, next up, it is time for a trip over to Prop City. Ian has a look here in the NFL. Ian's really struggling with his prop bets. I believe he's lost 15 straight, so he'll try to stop the bleeding with this one. Ian, what are you looking at here?
I don't think that's true either, but hey, maybe we'll have to check the math on that one. But if it is true, let's break the streak tonight. I'm going to, speaking of the Falcons earlier, I'm going to bet on a former Falcon tonight. I'm going to take Hayden Hurst over his receiving yardage total with Jamar Chase out. It's at 36.5 over at BetMGM if you want the best number out there. No Jamar Chase. That's going to create some more work for some other Bengals pass catchers. Hayden Hurst is a pass catcher. He is a tight end. He does catch the football. So no Jamar Chase. I think that equals more targets for Hayden Hurst. He's also had at least 5 receptions in 4 of his 7 games this year. And the Bengals pass attack, 3rd in the NFL over the past 3 games in yards per pass attempt, averaging 8.8. So they should get some yards through the air. I hope Hayden Hurst gets a chunk of them. I think it's a pretty low receiving total here, so I'll take the over 36.5 for Hayden Hurst tonight.
Hayden Hurst, indeed. Okay, so we stay in Prop City, but we move to another sport. Game 3 of the World Series going down in Philadelphia. I got my eyes on Lance McCullers Jr. and his strikeout total sitting there at 5.5. Boom! I am on the over for this one. So check out McCullers here lately. He's got over 5.5 in 6 of his last 7 starts. Now, the reason I like this bet most is because the Phillies are striking out a lot. They strikeout percentage of 27.8 in the playoffs. Now, to put that into perspective, the Angels had the highest strikeout percentage during the regular season at 25.7. And do not expect an early exit for Lance McCullers Jr. He should have every opportunity to rack up the innings pitched and hit this number. He's been super sharp since his season began in August, posting a 2.27 ERA. He hasn't got rocked once. Plus, this guy's a big game pitcher. Unlike Justin Verlander, he's got a 2.77 career postseason ERA. So give me McCullers Jr. to hit the over. Next up, Ian, you got an ice dog in the NHL. What are you looking at?
Yeah, speaking of dogs, speaking of cats, I don't know. I don't know if it's my costume that's freaking out my cat, but my actual cat is nonstop meowing at me right now, and I don't know what to do. I think my costume might be freaking her out, but I am the king of the cats. I'm also the king of the dogs, the underdogs, that is. Give me the Los Angeles Kings tonight. Down to plus 105. I got a good number last night, plus 120, but I still like him at plus 105. I like him at any underdog number against his Blues team, because this Blues team, I don't think they're good at playing the sport of hockey, Joe. 25th in your favorite stat, 5-on-5 Corsi percentage. Now they're going to take on a Kings team that is 8th in expected goals against per 60 minutes. But the main reason why I like going against this Blues team, because last year their advanced analytics numbers were very similar, but they were the best shooting team in the NHL, and they were able to make up for a lot of their bad spots by just finding the back of the net with their shots. Hasn't been the case this year. Heading into tonight's game, they're 24th in shooting percentage. If you don't have a high shooting percentage, those advanced analytics are going to come to fruition. And the Kings, by the way, last year, terrible shooting team. This year, 12th in shooting percentage. So I will be fading the St. Louis Blues as often as I can in the coming weeks. I'll take the Kings as underdogs tonight.
Next up, dogs don't stop. We're off to the NBA, my favorite dog of the night. I'm on the Indiana Pacers, plus 8.5. They are taking on the disgrace that is the Brooklyn Nets. So dig into the stats. This matchup is way too close statistically to justify an 8.5-point spread for the Nets. Are you kidding me? So the Nets are awful. 1-5 to start the season. The team is flat. Kyrie already in hot water for being a fucking asshole again. Steve Nash working on his resume. Durant working on another trade request. Ben Simmons, the only thing that asshole is working on is his pregame outfit. So you dig into the numbers and you won't find many data points to support the Nets, but you will find a few to support the Pacers here. Big edge on the glass and from three-point land. Indiana first in offensive rebound percentage. Guess who's last in opponent offensive rebound percentage? It is the disgrace that is the Brooklyn Nets. Pacers shooting a lot of threes, hitting at a decent percentage. They hit the second most threes per game in the NBA. Guess who allows the most threes per game in the NBA? It is the disgrace that is the Brooklyn Nets, and the Nets dead last in points allowed per 100 possessions. Pacers 7th in that category offensively, so I think they'll keep up and maybe even beat them again. Who knows? The Nets stink. They're absolutely brutal. Okay, next up, we got a big gigantic spread, biggest spread of the night in the NBA, but it's Halloween and I'm not scared, homie. Give me the Milwaukee Bucks minus 13 versus the Pistons. So they absolutely annihilate Detroit. This is a tradition unlike any other for the Milwaukee Bucks. Last season, wins up 30, 21, and 28 against them. They are 17-1 in their last 18 games against the Pistons. 13 of those 17 wins came by at least 14 points. They have an enormous defensive advantage in this game. Opponent EFG percentage first versus 26. The Pistons are 27th in EFG shooting percentage, by the way. I think this game has potential to be the first shutout in NBA history. First versus 29th in points allowed per 100 possessions as well, favoring, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks. And Milwaukee remains perfect on the season, 5-0 straight up, and ATS potential for the Bucks to be the NBA's first 82-win team. That's alive and well. So yeah, give me the Bucks here as a big favorite. Prediction for this game, 127-0 for the Milwaukee Bucks. They will cover that spread with ease. So there you have it, in and out. What was that, 7 total picks? Guys, do me a favor, if you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that like button. Right below that, somewhere's down there, is a subscribe button. Hit that as well. Help us out a little bit. So if you're looking to place some bets today, I recommend placing those bets over at BetMGM. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Kick off your day of sports betting with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 or older. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Indeed, the king of sportsbooks. Okay, let's talk a little NFL Super Bowl futures here, Ian. A lot of parity in the league this year, you know, different versions of the same team showing up every week. And, you know, the top 3 on the odds board, pretty easy to predict. Then it gets a little funny. Tito, let's bring up the odds as of today, as of the fallout. So we take a look at the odds to win Super Bowl 57. No big shock. You got the Bills there, plus 250. You have the Eagles right behind them, plus 550. I think the Eagles, they are clearly the best team in the NFC. I think there's pretty good value on them to win the Super Bowl. They're at plus 550. It looks like they're well on their way to getting the bye in the NFC. Then you have the Chiefs plus 650. That's not bad either. Something bad happens to the Bills, the Chiefs automatically become the favorite to win the Super Bowl. And then we have a drop-off. It gets a little funny. Take a look at the San Francisco 49ers there. 12-1. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't waste your money on betting on the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. This isn't a team that can win 4 playoff games in a row. I know everyone loves them today. All the highlights, Christian McCaffrey, hey, that was sexy. They beat up on their little brother, the LA Rams. But a different version of the 49ers shows up every week. Just last week, they lost by 21 to Kansas City. The week before that, they lost by 14 to Atlanta. Losses to the Bears and Broncos as well. Don't waste your money on that team. The Ravens, you really trust Lamar in a tight spot in the fourth quarter? Absolutely not. Cowboys, kind of interesting. They looked pretty good yesterday on offense. The Vikings, you know how we feel about them. Yeah, they picked up another win. Did they get a little bit of help there? Some ugly turnovers, muff punts. The Bengals, I still like them, 22-1. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl coming into this season. Of course, I'm happy to see my Dolphins there, 30-1. The Chargers, don't waste your money. That team can't get out of its own way, whether it's their buffoon head coach or just injury after injury. The Rams, this is not a Super Bowl hangover. It's a Super Bowl overdose for LA. And the Titans, they stink, and the Packers stink. So, Ian, what do you make about the odds board here? We're going into week 9 of the season, so almost halfway through the season. So any teams there stand out to you?
Yeah, I disagree with you about the 49ers, Joe. I think the 49ers are the second best team in the NFC by far. Don't forget this 49ers team.
That's not saying much. That's not saying much.
It's
I would say by far.
This is a team that was a couple plays away from making it to the Super Bowl last year. They have the exact same team again, plus the best running back in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey now. I don't see why they can't get back there. They were beating the Rams at halftime in the NFC Championship last game. Their defense can do a lot of stuff. They have enough playmakers on offense to score enough points to set their defense up to succeed. So I love the 49ers. I think they're my best bet on the board right now. But if we're talking about how bad the NFC is and how wide open it is after the Eagles and 49ers, why not take a shot on a team that's a little bit off the board and maybe they can make some noise in the playoffs? I mean, I'm looking at a team, I'm just going to randomly say an NFC team here. The Atlanta Falcons, 125-1. I mean, who knows? We've seen crazier things happen.
A little bit of help they got yesterday. Point shaving by the kicker for the Panthers. That guy's getting paid off. He's getting a free meal at Burger King following the game from the team owner or something, because who was that kicking? Is it Joey Sly? Is he the Panthers kicker? I'm not up on my kickers.
Eddie Pinero or something?
Oh, Pinero, yeah. That was absolutely brutal. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I like the NFL like this. You know, you have a few standout teams, and then it's just like flip a coin between the teams that are falling. How about those Miami Dolphins, though? Ian, what a win yesterday. How about Tua? Isn't it great to see him up at the top of the stats for most quarterback rating? He's passing at an incredible percentage so far this season. It's funny how things work in the NFL for these young quarterbacks, right? You give them a little help. You give them a little bit of support. You give them a little bit of time to develop, and hey, it might work out. Okay, right? So, full-on victory lap mode for us Miami Dolphins fans. They got to get into the playoffs and make a little bit of noise. Okay, that's it for our look at that. Those odds might shift a little bit depending on what happens in this Browns-Bengals game tonight. The Bengals will probably get a bump if they end up winning this game like they are favored to do tonight. Guys, if you love what we do here, or even if you like what we do here at Vegas Insider, you are going to want to check out the brand new Vegas Insider app. We've got up-to-date, easy-to-navigate odds for every major sport. We have all our latest shows, best bet videos, and podcasts, props, trends, futures, news, all on the Vegas Insider app. And there you see the graphic. Download the Vegas Insider app right now on Apple and Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Producer Tito, unfortunately, a little slow on the buttons today. I believe he must have been involved in a Halloween wake and bake. Any excuse for a wake and bake there for young Tito? Before we get into the viewer best bets, I see one came in on the live chat. Yeah, if you guys have questions, drop them in there. We'll answer them occasionally. Will give us an opportunity to talk a little combat sports here. What is his name here? Alec, asking about our thoughts on UFC 281. That is, of course, Israel Adesanya versus Pereira. I'm taking Pereira as an underdog. He's already beaten him twice in kickboxing. What do we think? This is going to become like a jiu-jitsu grappling match all of a sudden? It's going to be a kickboxing match inside of an octagon, essentially. So I'm going to take him as an underdog. Ian, did you have any thoughts on that fight?
I haven't locked anything in yet. I actually do kind of lean Adesanya, though, because I do think MMA kickboxing is a little bit different from kickboxing. Also, take a look at Carla Esparza, plus 270 over Weili Zhang, too. So I think that might have some value as an underdog. But I haven't locked anything in yet. I got to dive into it a little bit deeper.
Now, did you watch the Jake Paul Anderson Silva?
Saw the highlights. Jake Paul's a good boxer.
You know what, man? It was a very entertaining fight. If you don't agree that it was an entertaining fight, then you are absolutely a hater. So, yeah, it was a good fight. Jake Paul won fair and square. It was pretty close. You know, he kind of clinched it with the knockdown. I think that might have been in the last round. But, hey, that was an entertaining fight. How often do you watch a big boxing match and it's just a complete snoozer? So, yeah, that was pretty good. I'll be interested to see who he fights next. I think, unfortunately, he could beat Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is a pitter-patter boxer, and Jake Paul's 20 pounds bigger than him. So I would say I would give Jake Paul the edge in that fight. If it happens, hopefully it does, I guess. I don't know. But what about that bad beat on the UFC fight night? I know you had Calvin Kattar On the Pound for Pound Picks podcast, I picked the fight to go to decision. And another injury. That's the fourth injury in a main event for the UFC this year. I've been on the wrong side of 3 of them. So some bad beats there for Ian and I. Sports, you got to do a refund on those for the UFC if there's an injury in the fight. A lot of bad beats. Okay, producer Tito, let's get into some of the viewer picks. We had a couple of submissions there this morning. Jason Jantz. All right, a little bit of NBA, some numbers taking form, making it a little bit easier to handicap these games. Jason Jantz, he likes the under 224 for the Clippers and Rockets game. Clippers have the worst offensive points per game in the NBA so far this year, and Rockets are not much better at 23rd. Both teams are on a back-to-back. Clips have a top 10 defense and have gone under in 5 of 6 games this year. You know, I don't disagree with the pick. I'm completely staying away from Clippers games, though. So they've had so many guys in and out of the lineup. Kawhi already with the load management, or rust management, as they call it now, for God's sakes. And as for the both teams being on the on a back-to-back, be careful with that, because that affects them on both ends of the court, right? So it could affect the defense as well. What do we have next, Tito? Schreckendoss is back. This guy handicaps everything. He's on the first half. Cleveland as a dog, getting 2.5 points at home. Browns are 7-1 in their last 8 matchups straight up, including 6-2 in the first half. Browns significant advantage in the ground game. Of course, we discussed that. Avoiding full game as Bengals. Yes. Have been great. What? All right. A little miscommunication there. Okay. Nathan, we wish you good luck with that one. And what do we have next year, Tito? Our guy Sean Mitchelson. I like this one. A little under the radar on this prop. Peoples-Jones over 42.5 receiving yards, -110. He's gone over this number in 4 straight, averaging 66.5 yards and 7 targets per game in that span. Cincinnati defense, slightly above average, that does nothing great and does not get to the QB, ranking 26 in sacks. Yeah, I could also see the Browns being in a game state where they're playing from behind and forced to throw more. You know, what do you think of Peoples-Jones tonight? I know you're a big Peoples-Jones fan.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think the Browns are going to get the majority of their yards on the ground more than through the air. But yeah, I am a noted Peoples-Jones fan, though, so I'm not going to argue against the pick.
So would you rather have a Peoples-Jones jersey than a Deshaun Watson jersey to wear around
I would
town?
actually have a Peoples-Jones jersey being shipped to me right now. So excited for that.
I wonder how much Deshaun Watson jerseys they're selling. Imagine buying one of those for your kid. Here's a good role model to represent around the city.
Unfortunately, more people are probably buying them than you'd like to see. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson wear a Kyrie jersey the next day, maybe. Enough about that before I get into trouble. Okay, guys, it is now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check, presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today, we recognize Brian Edwards, who can be found on Twitter at VegasBEdwards. Brian is heating up. 5-1 record in the NFL yesterday, 11-5 in the NBA to start the season. That's better than me. Brian also among the best college football handicappers in the country, and you can hear him each week on the BetCFB podcast, located on the Vegas Insider podcast feed. Save $10 on Brian's daily picks or subscriptions by clicking on the link in the description below. The discount will be applied during checkout. That's your Handicapper Heat Check. Stay hot, betters! Woo!
That's Rob.
Oh, God. Tito is just messing up left and right today. What is going on? Okay, Ian, what's up for Halloween here? We're wrapping up. We've got to get you at the door. I'm sure you have some big festivities. Are you going to a pussy cat party where everyone dresses as a cat or something?
No, I wish. That'd be really fun. But no, going to like a live spooky storytelling podcast thing tonight. I don't really know what I'm getting into, but I'll be there. I'll be listening to some spooky stories, and I'll be wearing my cat costume.
What was your favorite thing to get when you went out trick-or-treating as a kid? Which, by the way, before you answer, trick-or-treating is one of the greatest traditions we have within our society. How great is that for a little kid? Yes. Everyone is happy. You dress up in a fun costume. You get all excited. You go to strangers' house and they give you candy. It's fun. It's a great tradition. What was your favorite thing to get?
That's a great question. Snickers bars. I'm a big fan of Snickers. So I go Snickers, maybe Butterfinger, underrated bar. Reese cups are always good. I hated getting chips, especially regular chips. Those are just disgusting.
You end up with like 30 bags of regular chips. And you'd open a few and you put them all in a bowl so you can have a big bowl of chips. But cans of soda pop.
Oh, those are way down your bag, though. It makes
it makes the bag heavier, but how excited is that? You get like a 33-cent can of pop, and it's like you hit the jackpot. And it's funny when you're a kid because the houses that give out like the cans of soda or like a full-size chocolate bar, like these houses stick with you as a kid for the rest of your life. Meanwhile, the assholes that are giving out raisins and peanuts, their houses are getting egged year-round. And those houses stand out to you as well, don't they?
Absolutely. Could not agree more. Candy corn. There's always a house in my neighborhood back in the day that gave them candy corn every year. It was the worst.
I am putting a thing out in front of my house with popcorn kernels with a sign that says "Take one," and that's
great idea.
Will get for me. No, I'm giving out. I got cases of Mountain Dew that I will be giving out, full cases. The trick or treaters, so going to be a bit heavy. They might have to make a pit stop at home to drop it off, but I want to get in good graces here, so I can avoid having my property vandalized for the foreseeable future. Okay, so big week in sports. I think this is the last night of the year, which we will have the 4 pro sports all playing at once. Of course, NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL. But what do you have going on over at BetSided this week that we can look forward to, and as well as with the Bacon Bets podcast?
Yeah, as always, daily bet slip going live at 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday, and the Bacon Bets podcast usually comes out Tuesday morning. It's going to be delayed a day, though, since I'm going to go to some spooky festivities tonight. So Bacon Bets podcast with my best bet for all NFL Week 9 games will be out Wednesday morning instead. So keep an eye on that.
Yes, sir. All right, and of course, we will be back chasing that paper tomorrow. It will be a big NBA and NHL show. So make sure you check back then, and make sure you are following Vegas Insider on Twitter for all the latest in the sports betting world. So there we have it, guys. Good luck with your bets tonight, unless you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Woo!